Boom, and I'm live. Okay, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I'll be discussing the three things I look for when I'm looking for food on the go, on the road, when I'm traveling, I'm living out of my backpack. And related to that, I'll also be touching on how I keep healthy and keep costs down without a kitchen and without going out to eat and paying for meals. What do I do? Well, I'm about to tell you. Okay, so first, let me just say I've been traveling a ton the last 8 years on and off. Some places I'll stay for a month, a couple months at a time. Other times I'm just there a few days or a week. And I also just keep it super light. I just have my backpack and that's it. Now, I don't travel with cooking gear, and I'm staying in a lot of hostels, a lot of Airbnb, especially the hostels. Half of them don't even have kitchens. So, what do I do? Well, I'll get to that in a second. First, here's what I look for, the top three things. Um, I look for food that is cheap, that is healthy, and that is tasty. Sounds like common sense, but when you think about it, you can make more logical decisions based on what you're buying if you think if it checks those three different things. So I'll give a couple examples. Carrots, cheap, healthy, and I think they're tasty at least. So, I'm going to buy these the most often, the things that hit the three things. Um, Rice cakes, cheap, healthy, they're okay. They're a lot better than like a lot of breads. And I think they're tasty, especially if you get the kind with sea salt on them, or maybe they have a little bit of chia seeds or something. So I get rice cakes. Also, I'm gluten free. So that's like the perfect answer for me. Oh, rice cakes also outside the US, or like in Europe, are super, super cheap. I have some notes I took here. What else? Other things like basically any kind of fruit that's in season wherever you are is going to be cheap, healthy, and probably delicious because it'll be the freshest. So think like local and vegetables, of course, in season as well. I could go on with examples. I'll just give another example. Peanut butter is something that's um, medium cheap. You definitely get a lot of value because you get a lot of use out of it. So if you get like a higher quality peanut butter, sometimes it's worth it for me to spend more money on higher quality products, whether that's peanut butter, whether that's a higher quality cheese. But if I think it's better for me and it tastes better, I don't mind spending a little bit extra. I'm that point in my life where I've been working full time. I can spend more when I want to. That said, I don't want to just needlessly waste money on things that aren't worth my while. Again, why I make sure it's as cheap as possible. Or if it's not cheap, I gotta treat myself every now and then. And as long as it's the other two, healthy and delicious, I'll spend some extra money on some fancy dark chocolate or maybe some portobello mushrooms or something. I don't buy those all the time, but once in a while, it's worth it because I know it's healthy and it tastes good, and I'd rather spend money on that than like a beer or something like things that I don't need or going out to eat. I mean, I still go out to eat sometimes as well, but again, it's still a lot cheaper buying a more expensive thing in the grocery store versus in a restaurant. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to uh, what I look for when or how I actually survive without going out to restaurants and um, cooking meals, or not cooking, I should say, not cooking meals, because I am in, like I said, some hostels that there's literally no kitchen. They have maybe a water heater for coffee and tea, and maybe a microwave, but sometimes not even a microwave. I mean, literally that's about it. And even when they do have a microwave, honestly, I'm not a big fan of microwaves. I don't think they're healthy, and that's a whole other topic, and they just don't make the food taste very good. So I mean, if you have to use it, use it. But I don't ever use the microwave. So this is what I do. I'll basically get as much food as I can that fits those at least two out of three of those criteria. Ideally, all three: cheap, healthy, and delicious. And I'm going to get things that I can eat raw. So I'm basically making giant salads out of these things, and I call them salads. Just like I throw it all into a bowl, and I put in as much as I can. If I can find one of those like bigger bowls in the house, so even in a pot, I'll just put it all in a pot. If they don't have a big bowl, or one of those like half bowl, half plates that are kind of like really deep, like that, and that way it'll last me for like two, sometimes even three meals, depending on how much I make and how hungry I am. But handy dandy notes. Here are a few examples. I've just run through a quick list of things that are cheap, healthy, and tasty, or tasty for me at least. Okay, so we've got lettuce, spinach, we have carrots, tomato. I don't know what I'm doing with my fingers. Don't worry about cutting. Uh, we have cheese. Again, not always the cheapest. Sometimes I would spring for some feta cheese because I like the taste and it's worth whatever spending an extra dollar. Who cares? Um, okay, we got cucumber, and those are kind of like the basic fruit, basic vegetables I'd put in. Um, I skipped ahead with the cheese. So we got your veggies, so lettuce, spinach, carrots, tomato, cucumber, bell pepper, um, and then some other things that I would put in are, to give it some extra oomph to it. You got the cheese and a little bit of protein in there as well. And I would either then use tuna, or I like hard-boiled eggs, but I'm assuming if you can't cook, you can't use the eggs. So you can just use a can of tuna for some instant protein, or nuts. Again, nuts aren't the cheapest thing, but those are things I definitely think are worth the money because nuts you can literally have with anything and have as a snack on the go, right? So tuna or nuts for protein, and then if you want to make it a little bit more filling, if tuna or nuts isn't enough, you still want to add something extra. You can use granola. I don't usually use granola again because I keep it gluten free, and a lot of granola has extra added sugar. If that's something you're concerned about, if not, um, yeah, then go for it. Or another alternative to adding a little bit something sweet in there, sweet and crunchy. If you're not doing granola, is banana chips. I love, love, love banana chips. Sometimes a little bit harder to find, but when you can find them, love to add those in. And then again, to make it more filling, for more protein, we got beans, lentils, any kind of bean. Those are usually cheap in a can, whatever. And what else we have here? Oh, and then sauce. Now you're thinking, what do they have for sauce? So first, before I buy anything, I'm always checking in the hostel to see if they have stuff from the previous people, that they go through hostels, they leave things. So I'll see, like, is there any oil? Ideally, olive oil I could use. If not, at least some like sunflower oil or something, which is better than nothing. And then I'll throw in some salt, pepper, basically any kind of sauce. I'm very creative, you could say, when it comes to this. Mustard is a secret sauce to making any salad taste awesome. I love mustard. And in growing up in the US, I would only use it for my hot dogs, maybe once in a while, hamburgers or fries if I was feeling adventurous, but that would be it. And now in Europe, I've found that they use mustard for a lot more things, like in all kinds of sauces, and especially in salads. So you can, mix in mustard with your olive oil. Just maybe in the beginning, don't do too much mustard. Just see how it tastes first. Also, similar to mustard, and something you can mix with mustard as part of the sauce, if you like that bitter taste, is horseradish. Love horseradish, and now I've been using that more too. Again, great for salads. Um, Even something like tomato sauce. I mean, you don't usually think of using it with a salad, but it's healthy and it all goes down the same way. So and then I would get like a lemon or lime, squeeze that in if you can, adding some extra zest. Of course, we have hot pepper if you like it spicy. We're just talking about picking up a couple hot peppers. If you can get them, find them in bulk where they're not prepackaged. They're usually really cheap, and you only have to buy like maybe a couple and slice them up really tiny, and then they'll last for a few meals. So that's also an awesome way to make it, give it some punch. And yeah, you get the idea. Just make these giant, mega big, huge salads. I need like a cool name for it. I don't know. What do you think I should call it? Like this channel if you think that this mega huge awesome salad needs a better name, because I will come up with a better name as soon as I see some likes on this video. Okay. um, yeah, speaking of which, and please subscribe. This is a brand new channel, so I really, really, really appreciate any likes and subscribes that come my way, especially if you want to see more of this good stuff. That's all I'm asking for. That's not too much, is it? So that's it. I'm going to end it here. And if you have any questions about this, other ways I'm staying healthy on the road, I already did a video. I'll actually link it here in the description below. 3 ways you can stay fit. So kind of like working out without a gym. and that's what I do on the road. And I love games, so I kind of make things workouts into games for myself. And I just listed three of those on this other uh, YouTube video that I did. And I'll do some more videos with this kind of health fitness stuff as well, especially in relation to not having a gym, not having or a kitchen. I was going to say condition, and making the best you can with the minimum resources. So that's it. Have an awesome, healthy day. Again, like and subscribe if you liked what I'm saying. And if you have any questions, please mention it in the comment, and I'm happy to answer them. All right. Have an awesome one.